One time Austin McBroom was cheating on Catherine, and the girl he was cheating on her with left a lipstick in his car. And I'm sitting in the car with Jake, and we get a call from Catherine or Austin or whoever the fuck, and we answer it. And it's Austin bawling his eyes out and Catherine absolutely screaming, holding this lipstick inside of their car.
I have always hated him. I've never been an Austin McBroom fan. I went on an entire year-long tangent in like 2019, 2020 about how much I thought he was a shit person and that Catherine deserved better, and all stories similar to that one of things I'd experienced.
And she's screaming and she's like, "It's the lipstick, Tana's. Austin says the lipstick's Tana's, blah, blah, blah." Austin's bawling. My dumb ass thinks that the right thing to do at the time is save the kids, save the kids. So I lie to Catherine. I'm like, "This is my lipstick."
Like a time where I was with Jake and him and found like a makeup product in his car, and then I had to like lie and say it was mine and it wasn't. And it was just like this whole thing. And then everyone was trying to negate my story and all this shit.
It wasn't my lipstick, Catherine. I'm really sorry. But we team Bryce out here on God. So.
I don't think anyone was like, could anybody even argue with that? I feel like it's just such common knowledge.
Apparently the same thing happened to Erica Costell. And then she came online and was like, that, I think she was saying like, that actually happened to me. And then I was like saying like, it also happened to me. And then no one believed me because, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Another time Austin hired 4 of my friends as his nannies. And when Catherine would leave, he would sleep with all of them. And then told her that they were all his nannies and it was a fake nanny company. And I just, so when you ask me why I'm Team Bryce, it's kind of like picking a lesser of 2 evils, you know?
I just think it's funny because he's still on Snapchat getting that bread. Like, it's the first person we've ever seen have a breakdown mentally through Snapchat, their money, how they're paying.
That's
like
what's crazy.
Monetizing their breakdown.
Tana is still protecting her baby Bryce on God, as she confirmed the rumors that Austin McBroom is the owner of Social Glove, and then flamed them saying, "I don't know why people are surprised they aren't getting paid."
Knowing now like how much money people are making from Snapchat, I'm like, God, he's a genius. Keep doing those cartwheels.
That's what it is. He's probably making racks this week. I
know, and he could after this just be like, okay, haha, joke's on you guys.
I mean, right, but like,
when I found out that his whole like grippy sock moment is only on Snapchat, I did think to myself like, that is kind of genius.
Now I'll tell you something right here. Austin wouldn't take the time of his day to reply and ends it by protecting Social Gloves, his company. He also puts a little bounty on her head and gives us another reason to believe he has the power to make it happen.
Okay, you guys. So Tana Mongeau is back in hot water again, and this time it's over something she did years ago. But it just resurfaced, and the internet is losing it. Why? Because Catherine Paiz, yes, Austin McBroom's ex, just went on Call Her Daddy and basically called Tana out, without naming her, for covering up Austin's cheating back when they were still married. And now people are accusing Tana of betraying Catherine. All over a tube of lipstick, yep, it's that deep and that messy. And the wildest part? This happened years ago, but somehow it's blowing up in 2025. So let me fill you in real quick. Back in 2021, right before the whole TikTok versus YouTuber boxing match, Tana was writing for Bryce Hall and completely against Austin McBroom. And out of nowhere, she drops this chaotic TikTok claiming that she once lied to Catherine. Yes, lied to cover up Austin cheating. She said that Catherine found a lipstick in Austin's Lambo, freaked out thinking it was Tana's, and Austin literally FaceTimed her while sobbing.
Saying he said there was 20 or something. I don't believe you.
And it's Austin bawling his eyes out and Catherine absolutely screaming.
Publicly talking about that is hurtful. It's like so detailed. I told him not to bring that girl. I'm trying to hold the very little piece that we have in our family.
And Tana, thinking she was saving the kids, told Catherine it was hers, even though it wasn't. Wild, right? Then she deleted the video, and everyone brushed it off as classic Tana chaos, until now. Because Catherine just brought the whole thing back up on one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And not only did she basically confirm the story happened, she also said she always suspected Austin was lying. So now people are coming for Tana like, why didn't you go to Catherine directly? Why cover for a cheater? Was this all clout chasing? But here's where it gets really interesting, because Tana didn't just stay quiet. She went on her own podcast, canceled, and spilled her side of the story. And you guys, it's a whole different vibe. Let's get into what Tana had to say, and why she insists she wasn't protecting Austin at all. So after Catherine's interview dropped and people started dragging Tana all over TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, you name it, Tana finally responded on her podcast, Canceled. And listen, she wasn't tiptoeing around anything. She straight up said,
He said, yes, I cheated and she was okay with it as long as I said you don't embarrass me.
Austin McBroom speaking out in the wake of his cheating scandal. The YouTuber reacted to ex Catherine Paiz's episode of Call Her Daddy, which dropped May 28th.
I've always hated Austin McBroom and claimed she would sooner die than protect him. Like, zero hesitation. Tana starts by saying the whole situation is getting twisted. She had to literally call Jake Paul. Because of course, just to refresh her memory on when all this even happened. She's like, this wasn't recent. This was years ago. I wasn't even 21. So right off the bat, she's trying to make it clear that this wasn't some calculated move. It was chaotic early 20s energy, and honestly, she barely remembered the details at first. But here's the thing. Tana says at that time, she genuinely thought Catherine already knew Austin was cheating. Like, according to her, everyone in LA knew. It wasn't some big secret. She had heard stories from people close to Jake, other influencers, even people who had allegedly been involved. And anytime she saw Catherine at events or in passing, she said Catherine seemed distant, unbothered, or just done.
I'm in trouble, Austin. Does your wife know that you cheat on her every weekend? Does she know that you message every single girl on Instagram trying to get in their...
So I'm sure by the last video, you know exactly who I'm about to talk about. Anyway, so a couple months ago, I get a DM from him on Instagram.
So in her mind, this wasn't a secret she was hiding, it was common knowledge. And that TikTok, according to Tana, it wasn't about humiliating Catherine or protecting Austin. It was her clapping back at Austin because apparently he was talking trash about her and Bryce Hall during the boxing hype. She claims he was poking the bear behind the scenes and she was like, okay, you want to come for me? Fine, let's talk about the lipstick. But she also says, even now, she stands by it. Like if she had to do it again, she probably still would have made the TikTok. But what she's not okay with? People saying she's not a girl's girl. That part really set her off. She said, point blank, there's no world where she would ever willingly protect Austin McBroom. She said he was disgusting, manipulative, and treated Catherine horribly. And she's always believed Catherine deserved better. Her exact words, I'd never protect a man over a woman. Not ever. So was it reckless? Maybe. But was it malicious? Tana says absolutely not. But that's not where the story ends, because Catherine wasn't just bringing this up for drama. She had a much bigger reason for revisiting it all right now.
Said it to me. You could have just been honest with me and just told me. But it was like I was being gaslighted.
Catherine's claims first made headlines when sections of her upcoming memoir made the rounds online. After fans learned of Catherine's allegations.
So if you thought Catherine was just randomly reviving old tea for a podcast soundbite, think again. Because right after that Call Her Daddy interview, Catherine started teasing something way bigger, her memoir. And not just any memoir. This one's titled Dolores, My Journey Home, Part 1. And it's already set to drop on July 1st. And y'all, the timing? Not subtle. In the book, according to early excerpts and insider leaks, Catherine does not hold back. She dives straight into the years of betrayal, emotional breakdowns, and public humiliation she experienced in the Ace family era. And yeah, Austin's cheating, confirmed. Like fully acknowledged, not speculated, not hinted at, confirmed. And here's the kicker. She doesn't just mention a betrayal, she talks about a pattern. Multiple women repeated red flags. And one very specific incident involving a certain influencer, a luxury car, and a misplaced lipstick. Sound familiar? And let's be real, this isn't just about receipts.
His reaction to Snapchat May 12th, saying in part, I 100% stepped out of my marriage, and it was completely wrong for me to do it.
Catherine's trying to rewrite her own narrative. For years, people painted her as clueless, passive, or just riding along for the Ace family brand. But now she's like, nope, I saw what was happening, and I had to survive it silently while raising kids and being filmed for YouTube every single day. And according to her, she was building her exit plan long before the world caught on. What's wild is that she even touches on the fact that people tried to tell her. And that's where Tana comes back into the picture. Catherine never names her directly in the book, at least not from the previews we've seen. But she talks about how there were moments where she could have listened sooner and didn't. And how women around her, maybe even unintentionally, ended up part of the cover-up. So now the narrative shifts. It's not just about whether Tana was right or wrong in the moment. It's about the emotional toll Catherine was carrying through all of it, and how public silence doesn't always mean ignorance, it can mean survival. And while Tana's defending herself on her podcast, Catherine is out here packaging the pain and publishing it.
Asking about Austin's response over time, Catherine says,
It never felt apologetic, ever. Even through our divorce, even through everything, I never heard him say the words, I cheated, until about a week ago when that first chapter of my book came out.
But the tea doesn't stop here, because Austin McBroom, of course, had to respond. And let's just say he chose the most Austin way possible. You guys? Of course, Austin McBroom couldn't stay silent. Because while Tana's podcast was trending and Catherine's book pre-orders were climbing, he popped up on, wait for it, Snapchat, yep, not a press release, not an interview, not even Instagram. This man chose to clap back on Snapchat stories like, it's 2017 again. And what did he say? Well, in typical Austin fashion, it was part deflection, part gaslight, and part humble brag. He did admit to making mistakes in the marriage, which, let's be honest, is influencers speak for, I got caught cheating. But then he pivots hard and starts pointing fingers at Catherine, saying their disconnect started because of her spiritual journey. And get this, ayahuasca ceremonies. Yes, Austin is now implying that Catherine's healing process, her retreats, her therapy, her time away, somehow disconnected them emotionally, and that's why he strayed. Like, sir, what? And the internet was not having it. Reddit threads instantly blew up. People were like, he's blaming psychedelics for cheating on his wife for 7 years. One comment literally said, imagine being this committed to being unserious. But here's the thing, this isn't just random content from Austin. He knows exactly what he's doing, because apparently Snapchat pays creators big, like thousands of dollars for viral views. And guess what? Austin's breakdowns, emotional confessions, and family updates are getting millions of views every week. So now people are accusing him of monetizing his own downfall, turning cheating scandals into content, and using Catherine's name to stay relevant. Tana even joked about this on her podcast, saying Austin's probably the first person to have a full-on mental breakdown while getting paid by Snapchat to post it. And she's not wrong. So now we've got Catherine telling her truth in a book, Tana trying to clear her name on a podcast, and Austin turning it all into a Snapchat reality show.
And when I heard the words, I was like, oh my God, finally I heard it. Thank you so much. That was all I was waiting for. Thank you. That's all I needed to hear. You could have just said it to me.
And in the middle of it all, the fans are trying to figure out who's telling the truth, who's cashing in, and who's just trying to survive the circus. But the wildest twist, this entire situation, lipstick lie and all, has now turned into a full-blown debate over girl code, betrayal, and whether Tana ever should have spoken up at all. Okay, so this is where things get really divided, because while Tana's out here defending herself and saying she thought Catherine already knew, the internet, not totally buying it. Comment sections have exploded. TikTok's For You page is flooded. Reddit's basically on fire. And what's wild is how split everyone is. Like, one side is totally dragging Tana, saying, you lied to another woman about her husband cheating. That's not girl code, that's betrayal. And others are like, okay, but wait, what if Catherine really did know and chose to stay? Does that make Tana the villain or just the scapegoat? One post on r/canceled podcast literally went viral for saying Tana couldn't even show up to a podcast on time, but we're trusting her to protect a marriage? Brutal. But then another user replied with, no one was saying anything when Austin was the one actually cheating for years. Why is Tana catching all the heat? And honestly, fair point. What makes this even messier is that Tana herself admitted on her podcast that, yeah, maybe she could have handled it better. But she also stood by the fact that she wasn't close with Catherine, didn't have her number, and felt like Catherine had already heard it all before. She said she knew of multiple women who had reached out and gotten no response, so she figured, what difference would one more person make? And this is where it gets complicated. Because if Catherine was knowingly staying in a messy relationship, whether for the kids, the brand, or her own emotional reasons,
you could have just been honest with me and just told me. But it was like I was being gaslighted.
Speaking about how many women Austin cheated with, Catherine admits,
I know for sure of 3.
Then maybe Tana wasn't betraying her so much as just throwing in the towel. But at the same time, the internet loves a clean villain. And right now, Tana's getting painted as the one who made it worse by going public. Some fans are calling it the lipstick betrayal. Others are saying it was just petty influencer drama that blew way out of proportion. But one thing's for sure, this debate has officially moved beyond just gossip. Now it's about loyalty, honesty, and what you owe another woman when you know something shady is going on behind her back. And just when things start to feel like they might settle down, the spiritual side of this whole saga takes center stage. Ayahuasca, healing, and Catherine's viral glow-up? Yeah, we need to talk about that too. So while Tana's battling backlash and Austin is over there monetizing chaos on Snapchat, Catherine, she's taking the spiritual route, and people are actually here for it. After everything that's come out, she's being called the ultimate comeback queen. Like, one minute she's being accused of ignoring the red flags, and the next, she's writing a book, glowing on podcasts, and casually dropping wisdom about ayahuasca and inner healing like she just walked out of a meditation retreat in Bali. And let's be real, Call Her Daddy wasn't just about the lipstick. Catherine opened up about everything. The gaslighting, the guilt, the constant pressure to look happy on camera while her real life was falling apart. And the way she described feeling like a stranger in her own marriage, that hit hard for a lot of people. But the part that really got everyone talking, her mention of ayahuasca.
Like, for sure. I know personally of women. I don't know them personally, as I'm friends with them, but I know who they are. I saw some headline things saying he said there was 20 or something.
Yep. Catherine says she went through full-on plant medicine ceremonies as part of her healing journey after leaving Austin. And while some people on TikTok were like, girl, what? Others were actually impressed. Like, yes, spiritual rebirth queen, we support this. Tana and her co-host even brought it up on Cancelled, saying that after going through what Catherine went through, anyone would be on a spiritual journey. Or, let's be honest, taking whatever helps you survive it. One clip even went viral where they joked, if I was married to Austin McBroom, I'd be microdosing in the forest too. But the interesting twist, some critics are using Catherine's healing to discredit her. Austin's defenders, yes, they exist, are trying to spin it like she's being overdramatic or using spirituality for clout. And that's exactly the kind of narrative Catherine's pushing back against. In her words, this isn't about revenge, it's about reclaiming peace. And whether you believe her or not, you can't deny that her vibe now is very different. She looks lighter, she speaks differently, and fans are literally commenting things like, she has that post-ace glow, or healing looks good on her. So, yeah, this isn't just influencer drama anymore. It's turned into a full-on case study in personal growth, public image, and how you reinvent yourself after the entire internet watches your life implode. But before we wrap this up, there's still one question everyone keeps asking. Was Tana wrong for lying, or just caught in the crossfire? So now that we've gone through all of it, the lipstick lie, the podcast drama, the book bombshells, the Snapchat breakdowns, and even the spiritual rebirth.
So here was our conversation on Instagram. I mean, it was just typical collab DM. I did find it a little weird and unnecessary that he needed to text me afterwards.
You're probably still asking the same question everyone else is. Was Tana Mongeau wrong, or just stuck in the middle of someone else's mess? Because here's what's clear. Austin McBroom was out here doing the absolute most. Cheating, denying, deflecting, and now low-key monetizing his downfall one Snapchat at a time. Catherine Paiz, on the other hand, was holding it all in for years, navigating it silently, raising kids and trying to protect her image, until she finally hit the point where she said, enough, and started telling her truth. And then there's Tana. Was she reckless? Definitely. Messy? Absolutely. But was she trying to hurt Catherine on purpose? That part's murky. Tana insists she thought Catherine already knew, that the whole cheating thing was public knowledge, and that her viral TikTok wasn't about exposing Catherine, it was about clapping back at Austin when he started coming for her. But even if her intentions weren't shady, the impact still stings. Because to a lot of people, she didn't just lie. She helped cover for a guy who had been cheating on his wife, and then used that same story later for content. Whether or not she meant it that way, That's how it landed. And maybe that's the lesson here, how one impulsive moment, one offhanded comment, can spiral into years of drama, distrust, and public fallout. Because at the end of the day, this wasn't just about lipstick. It was about loyalty, about silence, about knowing something and deciding what to do with it. And for Tana, that decision still haunts her years later. So now we turn it to you. Was Tana Mongeau just another influencer caught in the chaos of the McBroom machine? Or did she cross a line that no apology or podcast can walk back? Drop your take in the comments because this one's not black and white. And honestly, we're still waiting to see how it all plays out.